Hello guys, this is Chris with another English video. This time, how to pronounce that pesky ed on the end of past tense verbs. Stay tuned. So when you see the ed on the end of many verbs, many people don't even realize there are 3 different sounds. There's the t sound, the d sound, and the id sound, right? And you're like, well, why do sometimes we pronounce it as a T, sometimes as a D, sometimes as like an ID? What's the reason for this? Well, lucky for us, there are some easy rules. So, I made this beautiful chart right here. The first one is, does the verb end in a T or a D? T or D. Want ends in a T. End ends in a D sound, right? So, if that's the case, your work is done. You just need to add a id sound. Id. Wanted, ended, coated, exited. Right? Pretty simple. If the answer is no, then you have to go a little bit more into depth. You're like, is it unvoiced? Is it voiced? And at this point, you're like, Teacher Chris, what is voiced? What is unvoiced? Well, all you have to do, put your hand on your throat like this. Go la 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 la, right? If you feel your throat buzzing, those sounds, those are voiced. If it's not buzzing, then it's unvoiced. So this is easiest to just look at the ones that are unvoiced because there's only a few of them. So put your hand there. P, f, th, s, sh, ch, k. Right? So when you're doing those sounds, your throat's not moving. Conversely, if you're doing it like a b, v, d, you can kind of feel that in your throat. It's buzzing just a little bit like zzz, right? You can't make those sounds without involving your vocal flaps. So, anyway, if it's unvoiced, like in the p, v, th, s, sh, ch, k, all you have to do is add a t sound. So like jump ends in a p sound, so jumped. Laugh. Laugh ends with a f, 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 like an F sound. Laughed, right? All right, so that was unvoiced. Now what about the voiced ones? It's pretty much the same. All the other letters, not these, you're going to add a D sound on the end. So for example, color, ends in a sound. So add a D. Colored. Plow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Right? Plowed. Span. Spanned. Oh no! It's quiz time! Ta-da! All right. Put the verbs in the past tense. First verb. Allow. Allow. Whoa, 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 whoa. Ooh, that's a voiced letter sound. So we add a D on the end. Allowed. Allowed. Right? Pretty simple. Next one. End. 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 Ended. Ended. Next one. Hope. 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 Hoped. So, how did you do? Well, this is something that just takes some practice. Eventually, you'll get an ear for it. Some people have a problem hearing these sounds. Like, is this really unvoiced? Is this voiced? I don't want to stick my hand up here every time. I'll tell you a little secret. It doesn't really matter. Allowed. Allowed. My mother allowed me to go to the party. My mother allowed me to go to the party. Right? So they're close enough that nobody will really even notice. What you do need to keep in mind, though, is if it ends in the id sound. There is a huge difference between this. There's actually another syllable that we add instead just a sound. So going back to allowed, if I were to instead say allowed, right? People will immediately know you are not a native speaker. And sometimes they'll be like, what did you just say? They may not even understand. So Key takeaway from here, if it ends in a t or a d sound, give it a id sound. If it doesn't, give it a d or a t sound. And finally, there are some exceptions to these rules, especially when you're using the ed for an adjective. For example, aged, naked, learned. You probably won't run into them that often, so don't worry too much. If you are interested though, make sure to comment down below and I can make another video. If there are any other topics that you find you are struggling with, make sure to comment as well. Let me know. See you next time. Bye-bye.